numbers.
Get out the base! Get out the base! Hans, get off the base!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 567th episode of the Geek First podcast. I guess I'm still the honey-tongued Travis now. Only the patrons know what that is. And I'm joined by...
I'm the Whipper, Kirkland Patzer.
And then Mark Caster Domas.
And the rankings, Field of Field, Center Field.
You're
Yes,
shaking ahead
ladies.
of me.
It's just the Whipper. I don't know if that's a great name, but there you go. There it is. I get it. Ann Jones. Yeah, sure.
I thought it might like come off like I'm a Whippets guy, and I'm like, that's why I got to do like the crack. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to edit that part out. You're going to edit it,
Thank
but then I'm
you.
going to go and re-edit it.
You should.
So this is Geek First episode, not live. Patrons, you're getting this a few days early because we got lots of stuff on the feeds right now. So you want to head over and check that out. Not to mean to dive right into the links, but that's what I'm doing and everything. But yeah, we got the next 2 weeks is just fucking full, just juice. The juice is overflowing. If you got the juice meter, it says too much, but there's never enough. So you can go check out. A couple days ago, these guys just did a Secret Invasion review. I'm excited to listen to that and stuff like that. Taylor's being a perv as always. I heard a little bit of that episode, banning me from the YouTube chats, but that's okay. You can check out Dylan and Kirkland. You guys did a side quest episode this week, and then I'm not sure because this is dropping on like the weekend. What's coming up on the Monday or what's coming up on the Tuesday, Dylan? What's
Taylor's going to be joining me on SideQuest. As of this moment, not sure the topics, but we're going to talk about some of the games we've been playing. Hopefully some sick news drops. I'm hoping to get some Call of Duty Warzone in this weekend with whoever in this room will have me because I haven't played the new map yet, and I want to check that out and
I'll
talk about it
sneak in
with
there
Taylor,
with you.
so. Yeah, let's do it.
I
let's
can
look at
slither
the
on. It's been a while.
That would be great. Little four.
And by me saying that,
GV crew.
Might have Shay working this weekend, so I might be free. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is it a four-player? Is it a four-player mode? The new map? Can you do?
It varies weekly.
Well, it depends. It's annoying because
God, okay.
Oh,
they're
that's
doing
the
this annoying
worst.
thing where me and Emily played last week with Taylor, and the quads and the duos have one map, and the trios and the singles had one map.
Oh.
So we didn't get to play on the new map all last weekend because the trios was the
weird.
old map. So
And they swap it week to week, kind of thing.
I hope not, but that's gonna be annoying if
Okay.
it's we'll have to separate. We can do teams of the three and stuff
It,
like
cha-
that.
it
'cause-
updates every week. I imagine that it'll change.
well, then
Tune
next
into
week
SideQuest
quads wouldn't
on
yeah.
Tuesday to find out what we did in Call of Duty over the weekend.
And you can complain about that, So,
Exactly.
but you can check out that in honor of Oppenheimer. I am releasing the Nolan because I thought it was sooner, but no, we recorded the Nolan retro 3 years ago. It's nuts that we did that 3 years ago.
crazy.
Tyler Briggs is on some of these podcasts and whatnot. So,
That's wild.
and everyone check out the Prestige podcast. So something was wrong with Kirkland's mic. I'd never heard it, and he sounds like he's putting on a fake voice. It's great some of the time, but
I gotta look
so it's
into
like
that.
it's the in between because that's the setup where the audio is not pristine, but that's because it was like the early months of us COVID casting and stuff like that. Hadn't mastered the like what we got now and stuff like that. But yeah, so in honor of Oppenheimer, we're gonna go back. You can jump in the GV time machine if you've listened to them. You can just skip them. If not, because people hit me every time. The reason why do you put classic stuff? Because every time people go, "Oh, you guys have done this." I think it was. God, I can't remember the last thing. Espo's went through a bunch. She's like, "Oh, you guys should do that." I was like, "Well, don't worry, we've already done that." So that's why we re-release them. Not frequently, but it's been 3 years. So
And things
check-
get kicked out of the feeds too. And
Yes.
people want to listen to it on the main feed and whatnot. So
Yeah, we do a lot. So you got just like SideQuest, you got SideQuest feed, you got a review feed, so you don't got to miss any of them there. And I'm just re-releasing the Nolan movies. Like, okay, that's stupid. The non-Batman ones, because we released the non-Batman ones when the Batman came out and stuff like that. So those were more recent in the feed. So these are just his non-comic book stuff that's being re-released and stuff like
I
that.
always forget that Christopher Nolan has a movie called Following. When I saw
Yeah.
that on our schedule, I'm like, oh yeah, I reviewed that. We did that, and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just that name I guess is not good, but I always forget that he did that.
Yeah, it's a
Interesting
short
film.
film. So yeah, go check it out. I think in honor of the retro, I think I'm gonna try and watch every Nolan movie this summer. That's what I want to do. I'm trying to be bold. I'm thinking about doing that with Martin Scorsese, but he has like 40 plus. But now I'm at home, so I might try
40
to do that.
movies?
Something
40
like
plus
that.
movies?
Let me look up. Maybe
It's
maybe
pretty
I'm
insane when you look on his IMDb. I gotta say, it's scary.
yeah, maybe wrong, but he's been working since the
I don't even wanna
70s
look it
now,
up, I'm
right?
scared.
Yeah, he's been working since the 70s. So let's take a look how much he's directed. He's 72.
Oh my gosh.
So some of those are
72
probably
since the
short
70s.
film.
Even
So-
half
yeah.
of that is still an
Yeah.
incredibly impressive thing.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And you
So
got
yeah,
Tarantino out here with like 8 films or something.
I'm done at 10. I'm done at 10.
Nine.
Marty's like, well, here we go.
Perfectionist, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe that. As I've said, I believe maybe he won't direct, but he's even been like, oh, I can work in TV. Like, does it? Would you keep like if he directs a TV episode? Do you count that as him directing? Because I would, even if it's TV.
I would differentiate from seeing
Yeah,
films
of course.
directed. And then if
I
you want to
will-
keep that at 10, okay.
I will cheat all the rules to get as many movies
Yes.
from him as possible, but
Oh,
I do
yeah.
think that he definitely stretches the definition of I'm only doing these 10 things, and then
Mm-hmm.
what is it? Because he doesn't want to like release bad movies when he's older or something weird like
Yeah,
that.
he feels like. Which, speaking of, you can go vote right now for. Oppenheimer has the Nolan retro in honor of Margot Robbie and Barbie. We're gonna do a Margot Robbie retro just of one movie, and it looks like we're gonna be doing Wolf of Wall Street. That to me, mini spoilers, is a fantastic movie. It's Martin Scorsese directed like in his 70s, so it's like I don't know. Maybe some people have accused it. Tarantino's just like scared. He wants to keep it's like a boxer that retires early. Like they want to keep the really good record and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, one bad movie's not going to ruin Pulp Fiction or Django or Inglourious Basterds. Like if you were, let's say number 10 comes out and everyone's just like, oh, you missed a step. It'll be disappointing, but no one's going to ever be like, well, now those movies are all trash now. It's not like one guy. It's like, who did District 9 there? God, what's his name? Neil Blomkamp, right? Oh, sorry, I beat you, Taylor. That was your time. But like he did Elysium and Chappie, and they're all fine movies. But now he's been looked at as like, oh, well, he only really had one good movie. Tarantino's never gonna be looked. Well, he only had 9 good movies. Like no one's ever gonna do that, It's just. But he's already said he's gonna do like plays, books, and TV shows. And he hasn't said directing, but even if he's writing TV shows, I just think he's gonna be writing and. They're gonna work with somebody. Like he even admitted his first. Oh God, why am I forgetting the name of his first movie that he wrote? Oh shit,
Like
it's
the
Christian.
True
Romance. Thank you. Yeah. So he really wanted to direct that, but he didn't have the money to direct that, and he didn't have the clout to direct that. So he really hated parting with that script. I just think nowadays, if he writes something and he meets with someone, like, yeah, but I'm gonna do it this way, and I'll do it this way. I think that's gonna eat him. And be like, yeah, or maybe he'll let one project go and be like, no, I'm gonna direct this. Like I find it hard for me to believe he'll write a screenplay, of TV show, anything, and someone else will be behind the camera doing it. I just don't see it. But yeah. Check out, we got a Tarantino retro. That'll come back when that
But
happens.
anyway,
yeah.
Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, he's back with Oppenheimer in a couple weeks, which, yeah, I guess I should start promoting some of that stuff. We'll do a double review. Go over to Patreon right now and get us to 50 patrons by the end of the month. You can get ad-free, early exclusive episodes, but if you guess the 50 patrons, which we appreciate, because we got a little ways to go, we got to unlock 5 episodes. If not, they are locked in the vault like Tarantino's career after 10. Won't see him until maybe another run, stuff like that. So we really appreciate it. But yeah, you'll be getting a double review of that with the 3 of us, Taylor TBD. Shout out to the Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Joshua Wright, Jack Grant, and Muds. Doing it now because...
Yes, there he is.
So, yeah. Oh, you got to take... Yeah. It's one big one, yeah. So you got all that, and then this is for everybody. There's a post on Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and the Discord. However you want to get us a question, YouTube, whatever you want to do. It looks like July, is it 14th? We're recording it. I think that's next Thursday,
13th.
right? 13th. We're recording our 8-year anniversary cast. That's the episode where you can ask anything. Podcast related, personal related, entertainment. If you want to ask, hey, what's your favorite this? Sure. If you want to ask what's the saddest days of our life? Sure. Whatever you want to ask, it's all free game. We all pose questions to each other. We got some questions in there already, which are lots of fun. And then obviously Secret Invasion's going. And then lastly, finally, before we get into stuff, is Mission Impossible. We'll be reviewing that next week early, like on the Monday, Tuesday, because we got actually an early screening here in Kelowna, which is funny enough. We usually never do get that stuff, so look out for that. So lots of juice. That's why you head over to Patreon. Even at the Patreon $1 tier, you get the entire schedule all the time. And at $1 tier, like we said, any tier gets us to the 50. That helps us. past that, there's a nice RSS feed. You put in all your podcatcher apps, stuff like that. Which I can't say stuff like that because we got a 3-star review.
Could be worse. Could be 1 star.
Yeah, we
That's
got.
pass.
It is a pass. You want me to read this one?
That's a
Read
C.
it out.
C's get degrees.
Here,
That's
I'm
what I was
not.
told.
I'm not gonna read it out. I'm gonna give it to you guys, and you can choose to read it out or not.
Okay.
Fair
Is
enough.
it that bad?
Is it personal or what's going on?
No, I don't think it's that
I
personal.
Fucking
Names,
hate
names,
that
though.
Travis guy.
No. Hang on. So, but I
The
realized
anticipation's killing me.
it's so funny. I got rid of saying like as I just said it now. I try to say to get rid of like,
It's tough.
but now I do say and stuff like that. They said I say it in every single sentence.
I have noticed it, to be honest, and sometimes you say it a lot, but could be worse.
but I don't
Hey.
think that.
I'm still stuck on the like train. I was listening to one of the episodes. I'm like, I thought I remedied that like 5 years ago when we set up those signs. I feel
don't-
like though I mean I just said it again, but when it comes in like waves where I'll like not say like a lot and then it'll just come back randomly on a random episode and it's tough to listen to. So I apologize, listeners. I'm trying my best, but yeah.
Yeah, we're only human, and like even I don't know when I picked up and stuff like that because I don't think I've said it through my whole Geek First career. I think it's just
Filler
that,
though.
well, I think it's just that we got so much stuff on the go that I say that, and it just encapsulate and
You know
stuff
what?
like that.
You know what it probably there you go. You know what it probably is?
That was on
Maybe
purpose. That
it's-
one was on purpose.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's like a Travis told you thing where you've been doing so many of those in
That's
the last
true.
year, and you naturally when you're doing a solo cast like that, when you're kind of just ripping it off and stuff, rather than like having a script or something, you gotta have filler words to just sometimes think about what you're gonna say next, or just buy some time before the next thing. It could be a pacing thing. Who knows? So I don't know. Maybe that's what it is.
I think that's it.
Someone
feel
should
like
do a
just
deep
to
dive
space out.
analysis, find the first and stuff like that, and count every one.
S Bubs. We need
He's
a
gonna
super-
find it in like 2 minutes here. He's like,
That's
actually, it was
hard work for
episode.
Yeah, so yeah, drop us a nice review. We've had all over the place reviews. Like we have nice 5 stars. We've got a 1 star on our Flash review for using pronouns and stuff like that. So we're just
Fantastic.
if you like what we do, head over. June Trask totally makes you a target. Taylor, are you weak beta male?
Fuck that. I'm a father. I'm a new father. I'm far from a weak beta male. Fuck you,
Fathers can be
Mr.
beta, I
Great
think, but-
Britain.
Oh, I'm a weak beta male sometimes. Yeah, but I just don't. Even podcasts that I've not liked, I've always said this. I've just gone, well, that wasn't for me, and I move on. I've never once gone to a podcast and done the 1 star. I've never done that with a Yelp. I've never done that. I don't think I've ever done that. I think the only time I've done that was, and I didn't even drop a review. I just hassled them because Skip the Dishes like screwed us over once on a meal thing. When they're like, we delivered it, and it was very sus that all the signs point to the delivery driver actually just taking the food and not saying anything about it. Because like, oh yeah, we knocked and delivered. We're like, well, let's see a photo. And like, oh well, that doesn't exist right now. We're like, this was in the time where they were taking photos, so it's like very odd. But yeah, I guess it's just a. I'm not trying to be mean. Trying to say it's. I'm fine if we get reviews that aren't 5 stars that are like we appreciate it. Like even Twitter things like, hey, you guys, like there's this volume issue. That I completely understand. That's great because that's helpful. It's the just like an insult. Your voice sucks and stuff like that, which I get as a criticism, but like. If that's the worst thing I'm saying, all right. Like I don't know. So it's just.
I mean,
don't
he
know,
says we've danced around it. The review is this: the main host Travis is good, but he ends every sentence with and stuff like that. The co-hosts
Which is
are
not
very
true.
weak beta males with nothing interesting to say from Great Britain of all places. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, but yeah, I mean. But the
Shots
thing
fired at
is,
Great Britain.
this review is started with the main host Travis is good. So if you just cut out the rest of it, then it's
Yeah.
a great review right there.
We should do all
3
those
star?
and stuff like that. Yeah. No, it's just I don't know. I don't understand it. But thank you for everybody. Thank you for the past recent 5 stars. We got a nice couple of ones of those. So yeah, this Geek First podcast, do this weekly and stuff like that. No,
Bunch
but,
of beta males.
but
I'm more of
yeah.
a Charlie male. I'm like below
Travis
that.
and the
I think
beta
I'm a
males.
C.
I'm an
C
omega
tier.
here.
Weak beta males.
Yeah, weak. You're weak, just like your parents.
Why'd you do the Mia Goth voice? That's
I don't know.
Palpatine.
She should play Palpatine in the prequel.
Was that
Like
the
parents.
It kind of was. Yeah, I didn't mean to, but that definitely is the Mia Goth
Wow.
voice
That-
there. But
I texted Madison that because she's like, "What does it even mean, beta? Or what does beta even mean? Like beta fish? Like, yeah."
no, I think
Beta
beta,
fish is
Beta.
spelled
Yeah.
differently.
Beta fish are fucking badasses. They're like
Yeah.
carnivore. They or cannibals. I mean, they rip apart other beta fish. Like they're pretty intense.
I'll
There you
take
go,
that,
it's a
Great
compliment.
Britain. Yeah, that's a
And
good
they're kind of
compliment.
blue. They're blue
Suck on
and
that, Great
beautiful. Like they look really nice. So
Was that his name, Great Britain?
No,
No, it's okay.
it's from Great Britain.
DJ Wallace. Maybe he's hanging out with Taylor's brother-in-law. Go check him out. What's his rapper name?
I'm not gonna name drop that on
Oh,
air.
he's
Okay.
the Sharks goalie, right? He plays for the Sharks. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's all right. The Sharks' favorite team. Anyways, here we go. So we're at the next quarter. So I don't know if there'll be an update. I think the next update we're in July, unless it's really close. I think the next update will probably be the winners for all these drafts. But if it's like December and one of the movies or video game stuff depend on that, then we're gonna get to that. But yeah, we're gonna update you on the 4 drafts we got going: the MCU, the video game, the movie draft, and the superhero draft, which is coming to an end this week. Because I forgot next week. Oh my god, are you guys ready? We got the superhero draft. I think it's
Oh
like the
my
6th
god, I'm
year.
very excited for that. My list sucks dick this year, so I need some new.
Wait,
I
that
need
seems
some,
like
I need some
Oh,
fresh.
Cleaning the
I need
house.
some fresh
He's cleaning the
names.
house.
Yeah,
I thought you-
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna be just firing everyone on my list, except for Allison Brie. That was the kind of a low key pick to get me some points there.
I thought you meant like the upcoming people he had. So I thought you're like, oh, I'm so excited,
I
but my
hope
list
not.
sucks.
I can't have 2 years in a row of this kind of roster. I need.
Hey,
to pick it up.
you had Penn Badgley, and there was like rumors going around at one point. He was talking about Reed, so it's like
Rumors
it's like
don't
he
get
was-
you points in our rules here.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same. Well, let's start. I'll start there. Let me go bring it up there because that is the end of it there. But yeah, that's one where same thing. I had Adam Driver. It looked like he was going to be Reed Richards. Apparently, that's no longer happening because he was too expensive. So I almost had it again. So
Sorry, can I cut in there and say that I
Yeah.
had a dream the other night in which I was in the dream I was on the Geekverse Discord and
Oh.
and it was confirmed that Margot Robbie is in fact Sue Storm, and I'm pretty sure in the dream it was an SBubs link, so you know it's legit. So I just wanted to say if that happens, if that actually does end up happening, I'm some sort of clairvoyant dreamer, and shouts to SBubs who even in my dreams is confirming like news details to me.
Was it a giant frickin' robot link in your dream?
Yeah.
I don't remember that detail. It's literally like a 5-second dream. I feel like it was just that information and that's it. I don't even know if I was on Discord on my phone or my laptop or something. I think I was just in my screen witnessing that news drop live in real time.
Okay, I might be wrong because I feel like the superhero draft. I thought I had it on my phone, but maybe I don't. Oh, here we go. I think. Don't
Want me to do
comment
some
on
digging?
that. I got it here finally. Okay. So, someone footcast. So this is what the superhero draft. So this is the official. This is ending now because we're going to redraft next week. We'll go into all those rules and stuff like that. But in last place, sharing that load is Dylan and Kirkland. Dylan, you had Anna Armas, who's your 2-star, Alison Brie, Lily James, Kiki Palmer, Sadie Sink, Penn Badgley, Bill Hader, Bryce Dallas Howard, John Morales, Cooper Hoffman. I don't think that's a bad list. I think that the bottom two are like a little questionable. The rest of it, that's like Sadie
Yeah.
Sink and Kiki Palmer. Those were some winners in there, you know.
It's not all stinkers. I think it was just that in the cast, so many of mine got stolen like right before I was about to pick them,
Right.
and I didn't have enough of a reservoir of backup picks, and so just immediately after we hit end broadcast, I was not happy with my list, which is not a good feeling
fair.
to have. I like to come out feeling confident, feeling spicy, but I still got a point. I still
Yeah.
got a point.
Did you?
Yeah, I got a point. So am I still in last place? Remember
Oh,
Alison
right.
Brie?
No, you're not in last place. Sorry, I forgot. With Moon Girl or whatever, right?
Yeah, Alison Brie is in like some animated Marvel show.
Right.
As some, I think, just random character. So that's pretty much the kind of role I was thinking that she was going to be in, just because she did some like Star Wars animated stuff. So I was pretty happy with that point.
Okay, sorry. Dylan's tied for second place. Kirkland is the last place loser.
Thank
with
you.
Henry
Thank you.
Golding, Keanu Reeves, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Joe Keery, Glenn Powell, Joseph Quinn, Maud Apatow, Maya Hawke, and Michael Shannon, which is funny because there's been Joseph Quinn rumors, but who knows what's true and what's not true about Johnny Storm. So, but yeah, no points this year, Kirkland.
That's all right. Just got to be a loser. I'm glad to be it this year.
Yeah, that's it. And then Taylor, that tie with second place, still must. Naomi Scott, Nick Cage, Donnie Yen, Mark Hamill, Sigourney Weaver, Taryn Edgerton, Millie Bobby Brown, Miles Teller, Matt Damon, Hugh Jackman. And obviously, as we've said before, you have to get cast in a new role, not the role, which, you know, Taylor, that could be an argument for Nick Cage. He was cast back in the 90s already as Superman, so I don't know if that really
I got your
counts.
blessing at the theater. For
No,
that
I think it
one.
counts. The movie never happened, but yes, Taylor, for the first time, like I said, I don't know when. I can't remember if we've been doing this for 5 years or 6 years, but for the first time ever, you've gotten a point, which is good for you.
I-
With Nicolas
I-
Cage in The Flash. So
I didn't need to win. I wanted to be on the board for this because, as you said, it's been going on for so long. And that Nicolas Cage like completely went over my head. Couldn't believe it. I'm so happy that my boy Nick Cage brought me to the promised land. So
yeah.
I didn't even know that cameo happened. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, he played Superman because he was casted him back in the 90s. So at one point, Flash is seeing like all these different universes, and he sees
That's
Nicolas Cage fighting a big spider. So there you go. Yeah, this is definitely the draft that the winner, the two places are 1 point, and the winner's by 2 point. Even technically, it's just a 1 point. But finally, after all these times, because I was screwed out of a couple of years ago when I thought I had to win, and then Super Pets came and then casted a bunch of people, and that was stupid. But finally, I've taken a win here in the superhero draft, which I thought I was going to win like year 1 or 2. So I feel like I'm like now like it's past the point where I'd be excited. But either way, I had Margot Qualley, Samara Weaving, Anya Taylor-Joy, Dacre Montgomery. No. What we figured out his name. What was it? Dacre Montgomery, Lady Gaga, Jenna Ortega, Lea Seydoux, Hunter Schafer, Jodie Comer, and Austin Butler. And Lady Gaga, who was my 2-star, got me those points for Joker de la Foladou or whatever the fuck it's called. Foladeo?
Taylor,
Folie
you're the
à deux.
Frenchman. What is it?
Yeah, what was Joker 2 called?
Folie à
Joker-
deux.
Folie
Also
à
Gaston
deux?
Taylor.
Yeah.
I
He has to
Googling
search
it.
it up.
He's
He's not even
Googling it.
there.
I don't know what you guys are
Phone.
saying.
How to say it phonetically.
But yeah, so
Filet
Lady
Dieu.
Gaga, yeah, filet Dieu, yeah. So either way, happy
Filet
filet
that
the
deux.
fish.
Filet that
yeah,
deux.
filet dude. Joker 2. I'm sure once I hear trailers, I'll hear it. But yeah,
Stranger
Gaga.
Things must have came out around this time when we did the draft because we all
I
got
think
a
so.
we also got a Stranger Things character.
Yeah, but now Stranger Things hasn't locked in for years because it keeps getting delayed. So yeah, so there you go. Next week I've taken the win, but next week it starts all over. We'll be redrafting. As we said, people can drop, if everyone gets to keep 5, everyone can drop as many as they want. If they want to drop the whole, Dylan, if you really think your list sucks, you can drop every single one and just start anew,
I'm
whatever you
dropping a
want to
few.
do. There you go. So we'll be doing that next week in honor of Comic-Con, which is not happening. So there you go. To the MCU draft, because we had Secret Invasion start. So Taylor finally on the board. You had a couple, I guess, on the board, but Taylor rocking 45 right now. Obviously, you had a -5 with MODOK dying, but you got a 5-point appearance with Cosmos. And since this last one, we've had Guardians and now Secret Invasion. So this is the updated. So -5 for MODOK, but you got 5 points for War Machine, 5 points for Cosmo, and then technically 15 points for Howard the Duck because he was an unadvertised appearance. So we didn't see him in any trailers. We kind of figured he'd be in there, but Taylor's sitting, I think in Taylor's sitting at last place with 45. So there, well, technically
Sorry.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still funny.
Technically, because Kirkland's pick is a bust, he's at last place with 25. Because you got
Oh,
Adam
no, no,
Warlock.
no.
Hang on. You got
Infinite
Adam Warlock.
points.
No. Adam Warlock at 5, Talos at 5, Cassie Lang at 5, and Jimmy Woo at 15. So Kirkland's actually last place there at
What's
25.
What's the last one?
Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo was the last one I said, yeah. And then Dylan's second place. No. Dylan's total is 125.
Oh,
Getting
nice.
25 points all for Nick Fury, Ant-Man, Mantis, Rocket, Nebula. And then I'm sitting at 100 points just below Dylan with the same thing, all 25s with Star-Lord, Wasp, Group, and Drax. And hopefully I got Loki, but, you never know what can pop up and stuff like that. So right now in the fun draft, Dylan is winning it, but, Kirkland.
Reality's oftentimes disappointing.
I feel like
That's what to say.
I feel like next year we have to do like a point cap now for multiverse stuff. We've seen how the system can get broken with Kang.
I
And I
was
feel
gonna
like,
say like we gotta do some sort of clause where if an actor gets charges against him, you get negative 100 points.
My thought, and we can discuss this later, but my thought was that you should have to pick a specific variant, a specific version of a character. So in this case, you would pick presumably like
Kang
the
the
Kang
Conqueror,
trailer, kind of thing. And I feel like that could solve a lot of potential issues going down the road. But who knows how many variants there'll be in the future? Because
Yeah,
even
it's-
I felt weird about getting points for Captain Marvel last year for Multiverse of Madness because that's not really what I meant when I did that pick.
Yeah.
Like I'll take it even though I got points for her death then as well, or lost points, but I don't know. That could be a potential idea. We can ruminate on that. Come back in January and figure out what we're gonna
yeah.
do.
Because it's tough for like the movies where we don't know there's gonna have multiverse stuff. So like when we get Wolverine Deadpool 3, it's like what Wolverine is that? We don't know for sure if that's the Logan one. We don't know if that's a new one, right? So how do we specify
Yeah.
that right?
I know. I guess I just assume we're picking the main one. I guess and in the
okay.
trailers they're probably only going to show one Wolverine or what we
Yeah.
I don't know. It could get tricky. You're right.
I agree, probably because I think we did the multiverse thing 2 years, like, and same thing. What if non-existent then? Because then you wouldn't. Those are all variants.
Yeah, I
right?
guess. Well, I mean, if we did that, we could then open it up and say you can pick like I'm picking Iron Man from like
what
Robert
if?
Downey, and then I'm picking Iron Man. I don't know. It could get really messy. You're right, but
See, and then
you
because
could
what
have
happens?
multiple characters getting picked.
And what happens in What if there's 3 different versions of Iron Man, right? Which one do you pick?
Yeah.
Do you, from that episode? That's why I thought maybe we could do like a cap. Like you could only get like let's say whatever the max amount is, like a 50. Let's say someone could get 50 points, like that. Like that's your cap maybe. So it's like you could
That could
start
be good.
going, but then you're stopped because as we saw with Kang this year, first movie out of the gate, we But
Do
Kirk-
you agree with this, Kirkland? This new system?
I'm open to discussion.
Either way, you're winning this year. Like we're not trying to take away this year. You've won by
Oh, I know.
an insane margin.
I already got the belt. I already
But
bought it.
it's one of those more for fun for us and the viewers, because it's just like it is like we're updating a dead draft all the time, but it's fun to look at, so.
I'm playing for second at this point, personally.
Exactly. That's second's a cool spot, right? That's the real spot. That's really where it's at and stuff. So
Sure.
let's see here. The video game draft here. Dylan, did you end up doing an update on the episode this week?
We did, yeah. Do you want me to
Okay.
quickly go through?
Yeah, do a
here
quick
again?
one there. Yeah, it's pretty much two game race right now, right?
It really is. So yeah, this video game one, we all picked 5 games. Then whatever the Metacritic score is for the platform you choose is the number, and then you add those 5 numbers together. We've decided that sometime in August, probably after Gamescom or something like that, we are going to do a repick for games that have been since delayed. But as it stands right now, Taylor, you are finally on the board, though you're still in last place with Street Fighter 6. But it's a 92, so like that's a really good rating. You're
Ooh.
just waiting for other things to release at this point. So you have Spider-Man 2, Pikmin 4, which is coming out in a couple weeks,
Okay.
Forza Motorsport, and Assassin's Creed Mirage. So I think you're
Those
looking
are some good
pretty
games,
good.
actually.
Street Fighter could have gone higher or lower, but like that's a really nice, like 92 for a fighting game. That's pretty solid.
I actually think you got a good shot with your Murderous Row right there because I think
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man will do well. Assassin's Creed will at least probably do like a 75, 80, I think, unless it's something really bad happen. Forza usually does good. And what was the other one he had there? Or
Pikmin and Spider-Man.
Yeah, so maybe, no, I take it back. Maybe it's not just a me and Kirkland one game race because that's a lot of good games you got coming
Coming
out,
for
so.
you.
He's in the end game. The late game he's playing.
But so far, all drafts right now, Taylor's in last place. So there you go. That's
Yeah.
a good theme for tonight.
That sounds better.
Oh,
He was in second. Second for the,
second.
Oh, you're right. You got that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Take it back.
First
Okay.
loser.
Yeah.
I'm in third place right now. I only have 2 games released. I have Resident Evil 4 Remake, which gave me 93 points, and Final Fantasy 16, sitting at 88. Right now, I have Starfield, Hellblade, and Hollow Knight. Hellblade, we already know got delayed. Starfield, I doubt that will get delayed again, but I've said that many times before.
Yeah.
Really hoping Hollow Knight gets maybe not a shadow drop, but like a late announcement, because, man, for both Hellblade and Hollow Knight, I feel like we saw gameplay for both those games years ago at this point. So it's
Yeah.
shocking that they're taking so long, but I guess that's what happens.
And Hellblade's out of this year now?
Yes.
Oh, damn. That sucks.
Yeah. And then, so really the interesting part here is it's kind of a, not a tie, but it's very close between Travis and Kirkland here. In second place is Travis with a total of 324 points. You've got 96 from Tears of the Kingdom, 89 from Dead Space, 85 from Octopath Traveler 2, and a 54 from Redfall.
I can't believe that. I can't. That to me has to be one of the most disappointing ones we've done. We've only done the video game draft 2 years now, but I have to look at last year's draft. Like, I don't think there's a game like that had that much hype going in that's gone to 54. I don't know.
I don't think so, yeah.
I'm
That's,
never picking them again.
It's very sad, for sure. You hate to see it. Go check out our review. And then Replaced is your last game, which we just don't have any information on still. I was just Googling it, and yeah, no info on
nothing.
if that is still coming out this year. So that might be a good repick for you. And, there's a few good picks. There's not, I would say, tons and tons of great picks going into the fall, but there's a few solid ones in there for the repick.
Yeah, it's just me. Yeah, because like Dylan said in August, it's just me picking something that has a date. Like, it's better than getting something on the board for me personally than not. Plus, I don't know what Replace is going to review at, right? I'm hoping it was like a nice pick, but I definitely, as a mini spoiler, I will be dropping that just because I got to go with something that for sure has a date. Because right now, I don't know, let's say Taylor's games don't play out well. If it's down to me and Kirkland and both our games don't come out, then he just wins. So I kind of have to make the play, and I'm going to go East,
And-
even if it's something like 30 points, I could beat him by that. So I just have to take a look and see what is the juice out there, so.
And Kirkland's last game, I don't know if it's gone gold yet, but it's it's coming out soon here. They actually moved up the release date closer because I think they wanted to distance themselves from Starfield release date. But here is Kirkland's list with 330 points, so only 6 points different from Travis. So even though Kirkland doesn't have a Redfall 54, his overall average is low enough that you guys are still very close, which is why it is so exciting in my opinion. But you got Hogwarts Legacy with 84, Diablo 4 with 87, System Shock Remake with 78, and Company of Heroes 3 with 81. And then Baldur's Gate 3 is the one that's coming out in, I think, August or maybe even late
Okay.
July at this point. For
Yeah,
your
I think it's late
closing
July
out your
now.
points there. Yeah.
I thought you were memeing Kirkland was going to get delayed. Because I thought they said something like, "Oh, the stuff about the cinematics
It was a weird
have
case
taken
where
so long."
I think they're releasing the PC version early, but not the other stuff. Maybe that was what you're talking about. Is that the
Okay.
consoles are like
No, the-
potentially delayed? But you picked PC version, so you're good.
Yeah. The only thing I linked to you, Travis, was it was like all of the cinematics in Baldur's Gate 3 is longer than the entirety
Yeah.
of Game of Thrones combined.
thought
And I'm
you-
like,
I
this is
thought-
a good sign.
Oh, okay. I thought that you were just being sarcastic by saying like because they got a lot of work to do on it. Because I didn't read the article, so that's what I thought you were trying to say. So it's like, okay.
No, I was cocky. I'm like getting under your skin. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm like, this is only a good sign if it's got that length.
We'll see. And then maybe Taylor might come down to you. So those other games got to deliver and stuff like that. But yeah. So we'll see come August, see if I drop anything. Kirkland's obviously not, so I got some tinkering to do. And then finally, the 2023 movie draft. I'll start with myself as I am in last place with a sole $1 billion. The Flash, 247 million. That was my second pick. That really fucked me there. If I lose, it's because of that. Little Mermaid, 526 million. So not bad. 65 with 60 million. And then Scream 6 with 168. I have currently 6 movies, though, still to release. So I got a lot to still on the board there.
I love that 65 is your downfall because you love that movie and you're banking on it.
That's not my that's not my
sometimes.
downfall. Definitely Flash.
It is in my canon.
It's no, because 65 was like a low pick where it's like, oh, maybe it's a breakout hit. Flash being my number 2, and it's gonna be like maybe 300 million. That's a big kick in the nuts there. That's real bad and stuff like that.
When box office was coming out for 65, did just a million people make jokes and memes that it didn't make more money than its title?
Yeah, I think no, I think
That's
it
an
was
easy
almost more
joke
like
to
a
make, I
pouring
think,
it out, like only if it could have made 65 million. You know?
Yeah.
They should do a re-release just so we could get there. You know, but not gonna happen.
don't know if it would.
62. Yeah.
Yeah. Taylor Field is in third place right now with 1.4 billion. It's pretty much just Mario carrying it because Mario is 1.3.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Fuck
so literally
yeah.
it's a one movie thing, but he has Taylor, to be clear, he has 7 movies still to release. If these 7 movies are great picks, I don't know, but to clarify what he has 1.3 billion for Super Mario. I could not believe this. Renfield made $26 million overall. Oh my
That's
Nice little
god.
cushion. That's a little pillow to sleep on.
I couldn't believe the
For
budget
who?
was not
got
for
1.3
not for
billion.
Paramount.
I'm
Which
sitting
movie
pretty.
studio? Yeah.
It's Paramount. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It's has a budget of 45 million. Yeah, when I saw 26 million, I was like, oh my god, people just
sad.
gave no shits about that. And then right now this week, you just had your number 2, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny with 130, but much like the
Still earning.
Flash.
It's still earning money.
Okay, much like the Flash, it's projected to be a box office money loser. So I think you're gonna be just like the Flash in my spot. Your number 2 is gonna not bring you too much. You do have a big one coming out with Barbie in a couple weeks, so that'd be big. And then who knows, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem. You got Oppenheimer. So risky pick that you got Barbie and Oppenheimer. They're competing against each other.
Well, they are, but I mean, it's all money in my bank here. I saw people talking about how they anticipated the box office for TMNT could hit 500 million, and Oppenheimer
Who's
could
these
hit 500
people?
million. A couple of Reddit
Madison-
forums.
Madison's
Oppen-
throwing Taylor
Oppenheimer's Madison and the baby. Yeah. Oppenheimer's not in 500 million, I'll tell you that much. No one's seeing right now. Barbie's tracking at 80 to 100 million opening weekend. Oppenheimer's like under 40, so people aren't going out to see this movie. It's too depressing in the summer, I'm telling you.
Maybe I don't know enough about box office stuff, but like, is that not very low for Barbie considering how much hype there's been?
No, that's really good because that would open bigger than the Flash. That would open bigger than Indy. Like that'd be because all box office is kind of lower. That'd be one of the bigger openings of the year. Barbie. I was like, I think there's
So that's
only
that was just the opening, not like its overall. run,
just
I guess.
opening. But I think like Guardians, Spider-Verse, Mario, and maybe Little Mermaid. I think those are the only movies that do 100 million this year. So Barbie would be the fifth. So yeah, it's just because it's like lower this year. So and then he has Haunted Mansion, which is gonna just fucking
Dylan's
eat
dad
it.
will be there.
He's gonna be
He
there.
will.
Is he?
Oh,
Is he
yeah.
gonna get? Do you have this fucking four? You have Tara, Haunted Mansion, Gran Turismo, Strays, and Insidious: Fear the Dark, or
Wow.
now The Red Door. Yeah, that's.
I anticipate
I
at
don't-
least like box office total. I'm thinking at least 150 million for Insidious this week.
Wasn't Insidious like just
What?
streaming or something, or is it going to theaters?
It's going to theaters. I think you might get 150 for all four of those movies.
I was
Taylor.
gonna
Those-
No, because
say,
the
I
last
was
one
about
made
to
the
say
last
that.
one Last Key made 150 million at the box office, or like 147, I think, or something.
That was the
I
last
just-
key. This is the Red Door.
Yeah, this is a
peop-
sequel follow up.
People
Let's go
like
back to the
Keys
original
more.
roots. It's the original roots. So I think we're gonna do pretty good with.
Are you seeing it this week? Do you got to pump up that review or pitch that review?
I don't know. I like
That's
going
a
to see them in
50-50?
Madison, but like none of the GV boys are wanting to go with me.
You were trying to
so.
get me in there.
he messaged me too. I'm like, no,
I'll watch it when it hits stream. You didn't message me. I'm offended. I'll watch it when it hits streaming, and I'll do a late review with you.
Yeah, I'll do a late review.
Actually, you
with
know what? Now that you left me out of this fucking going, fuck you. I'm not.
I need to
watching
see it
this
with
movie.
someone. I need to see it. With
If I
someone.
see a movie
Yeah, but
this
not
week,
me, apparently.
I'm seeing Joyride. That's supposed to be phenomenal. So I don't know if I'll get to see that, but
Gran Turismo, I think, has hope. I think there's some hope.
no, that has zero hope. Out of all the ones between Haunted Mansion, Gran Turismo, Strays, Insidious, I'd pick Gran Turismo last out of all those.
Over
to make money.
Strays.
Over
Really?
Strays, Travis.
Yeah,
no?
there's a chance. I just don't think anyone wants to go see this boring car movie. At least some stoner people might want to
Who's
go see
buying
some.
the Gran Turismo games? Those are the people that are going to be going to see this
You want to
movie.
make that same argument that people made for World of Warcraft when that bombed here in North America? Everyone's like, look how many people play that game. Yeah, no one came out to fucking see it. Or Uncharted. No. So anyway, Taylor third place right now. Dylan must at second place, but you guys are in a very close race right now. Dylan with some top big earners. Guardians with 837 million. Fast and Furious with 699, so literally 1 million away from 700. Transformers: Rise of the Beast with 383. Shazam 3 of the Guards 133. Elemental 190. It's been climbing. It's been having some good weekends and non-drops. You have 5 movies left to go, Dylan, and you are at $2.2 billion right now. You got the Marvels, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Expendables 4, Next Goal Wins, and Saw X/10, whatever they're going to call it. So
I got a
2.2.
couple in there. I got a couple in
Yeah.
there that could do it.
But this is the big thing because so you're at 2.2, you got 5 movies. Kirkland is at 2.4, so he's beating you, but he only has 2 movies. Or sorry, he has 3. Sorry, I'll take that back. 3
Spicy.
movies. So you got 2 more. So the 3 movies you have left, Kirkland, are Trollstopia. They've changed the title of that.
good one.
The Meg 2, The Trench, and then your number 1 pick is still up there, Dune Part 2. So those are the 3 you have left right now.
I
The
chose the trench. I chose the Meg. That must
Yeah,
be a lower
you did.
pick.
At 5. No, at 5. You chose it before Creed 3.
What was going through my mind?
That's a draft, man. Happens sometimes. So the picks that he has right now is Cross the Spider-Verse is your breadwinner at $613 million. Massive jump up from the first one. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, 476, not even breaking a half a bill. John Wick Chapter 4 at 432. Creed 3 at 274. Shazimi with a very underrated pick at 322. That's what Kirkland
Hell
knows these
yeah.
stupid anime
The foreign
movies that-
films.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to start looking into some of those Chinese movies too. Dungeons and Dragons with 208, and then Evil Dead Rise with 146. So, like I said, you're currently in the lead with 2.4 with 3 movies to go. Dylan nip at your heels with 2.2 with 5 movies to go. I think it's a you guys race because I think me and Taylor's 2 with Indian Flash kind of have taken us out of it. We have some movies.
No. I'm not out yet.
The Red Door, man.
So speaking for my Taylor can say it, but speaking for myself, and I'll speak on behalf of Taylor, the number 2 picks of Indy and Flash, I think, have sunken us because the other ones we have, there's some good ones, but both Dylan's big one. He still has the Marvels, and Kirkland still has Dune. Where Taylor, our biggest ones, have
I got
pretty much
7
happened.
more movies left. I am still in
Strays,
this.
Gran Turismo, The Haunted
Still in this,
Mansion,
still
The
in
Red
this.
Door. Yeah.
Easily still in this.
We'll see. All right, let's take.
Strays. Strays, $100,000. That's my guess.
I don't even know that. I think it might be like 60, 70.
Sorry,
no, lower actually. I'm
Who's
going
got
like
Mission
50.
Impossible?
I do. So I got that. Yeah, that was my. I guess I'm wrong. That was my number 1 pick. So I'm hoping that.
That could be a good one.
Yeah, that Tom Cruise magic needs to strike again. The box office is low, and that's what we're going to talk about right after this ad break because we're going to talk about the Indiana Jones box office. So we're going to take our first ad break and we'll be right back. And we're back. So before we get into the Indiana Jones ring, because usually we do a mini or newscast up with this, we won't. So we'll do a mini topic here. So Indiana Jones came in at around 60 million, and then it came much like The Flash was supposed to be making like 160 overall. It came in 130. Has a budget of 295. The advertising is like out the roof and stuff like that. So right now, who knows? It had like a good hold on Monday. That was the story. But kind of looking at the weekend, projections and stuff like that, it looks like it's going to be one of like Disney's bigger flops in the past, definitely of this decade, but maybe the past, like probably like John Carter level of, if it made 300, it usually would probably have to make somewhere between like 450 to 600 to break even, and it might finish out at like a 350, something like that. So Taylor, Phil, because we talked about this a few times, what do you think? What are you questioning there?
I was gonna say, is Kathleen in trouble?
Well, that's always the conversation, right? You can go search the internet. There's tons of go woke, get broke, and red eye thumbnails. We're not doing that. I don't know, because it's one of these things of like I've said it many times before. I don't know if this generation was the right generation to do Indiana Jones movie. I think there's lots of other problems too. Yes, there's streaming. Yes, there's lots of movies. I think it's a bunch of stuff, but I just didn't know if there was interest. But it's not a good thing for her to put out this movie that could be one of Disney's bigger bonds. I'll say at least the past decade. Say that for such a high profile movie to do so poorly. It's much like The Flash, where it's coming in major under expectations. So, Taylor, you surprised by any of this?
I'd be lying if I said, of course, like I was not surprised, but I'm not blown away either by the level that it's hit in the box office. Like, I would have loved to have seen it do better. I mean, I'd love to see more Indiana Jones kind of like spur out of this with, we talked about it with side characters and all that, but it's a shame, and it's not blowing my mind out of the water, the fact that it's kind of hitting this kind of like rocky kind of edge in the box office. I guess I would kind of sympathize with that statement that it's probably just not the right time, like you said, Travis, for people just to kind of take in Indiana Jones. It definitely is that certain kind of demographic that grew up with Indiana Jones. That was definitely a part of it. I think if this movie came out probably, can I say 10 years ago? Yeah, because Crystal Skull was 2008. If this movie came out probably like that 10 years ago, I think it would have done really well back then. But I think it definitely has kind of like missed its mark now, or at least not implemented enough change for the general population like a Star Wars, like Force Awakens necessarily had. Well, again, that had like a lot more like mystery to it. It didn't have like a Crystal Skull buffering in between to kind of satisfy people for the time being. And who knows what damage Crystal Skull did to the fandom that was kind of going into this film as well, even though it is not really George Lucas. It's Disney that was spearheading it. But I just think there were many red flags kind of like in front of this film for the larger Indiana Jones community or fan base. So
I'm glad you went back, because when I heard you say it first, like, this wasn't the right time, it's like, I don't know if there is a right time anymore. I think at some point in our lives, we're going to get a trailer, we're going to see a whip crack, like Kirkland's name, and we're going to see someone pick up the hat, and it's not going to be Harrison Ford. So it will happen. Not going to be Shia either. Not going to be, yeah. So it's going to happen. I think, maybe 10 years ago, 10 years ago does better. I'll say at least that. I think, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull thing is a big thing of like, of course people know Spielberg and Lucas, but they might not even know they're not even doing this one until they sit down and watch like the credits and stuff like that, right? Like they have no idea. They're just consuming movies. And I think it's just that we were past the point. And even then, I think the movie, I would say like, has like a semi-mixed reaction for people I talk to and like our Discord. So like it is more mixed. So I don't think it's a movie that like Across Spider-Verse where I feel like people are going to go and recommend to anybody. But at the same time, I still thought it was good enough to do better than this. But I think it's just unfortunate time has passed. And I think we will get a reboot in the future, which will be weird. But I think they'll have to sit on it for a little while because it's, not it's weird saying it's not a proven property, but it's not right now currently, and stuff like that. So hopefully that Bethesda game can, drum up some sales and do well and be a good game and stuff. But yeah, I think it's just maybe also in a season where it's not as crowded, stuff like that. Like I was talking about that today with someone with Superman Legacy Guns movie coming up in a couple of years, and it's like now with the Batman 2 not coming out that year, it seems, and now with Avengers not coming out that year, Superman. Other than, oh no, Deadpool got pushed forward. So literally at one point we had that picture, right, of Superman, Deadpool, Avengers, and the Batman all together, and now it's just Superman Legacy. That helps that so much. Where right now, we've talked about how many times of how much stuff is out. How many people are in that demographic that might have gone, I like the Mission Impossible movies more right now, so I'm going to wait a little bit. So I think maybe that, I'd say another time for like different months or maybe a 1 year off, but I still think the general interest maybe just wasn't there for indie anymore, unfortunately, So
It blows my mind just how much money Kingdom of the Crystal Skull actually makes. Like just looking
isn't
at
like
that
800
number
or something like that.
It's 790.7
Yeah, pretty much,
million
yeah.
USD.
Jeez, yeah.
It's that that's so bonkers, and it's weird. Like because like Taylor said, like if this came out like 10 years ago, I don't even think it does near that number. Like I still think it would be pretty low, just because people treat that movie as maybe like, oh, it's like they're finally coming back since the 80s. Like this is like the one last hurrah. And then like here we are in 2023, we're having another last hurrah, and then people have Kingdom of the Crystal Skull from 2008 in their mind as that last hurrah, and they're like, well, I didn't really like that movie, or like it wasn't the quality of what the originals were. So I just, it seemed like they had squeezed that lemon for all the juice that it really could have. That's my kind of guess there. But the fact that it's still like under 500 million, that's pretty shocking to me. I don't know. I just think it's such a big franchise, but maybe I'm just dating myself. Maybe I'm an old boy now, and the younger generation doesn't really give a shit about Indiana Jones. So it's kind of perplexing.
You've heard
especially
of fuck
thinking,
boys. Now you got old boys.
especially just like thinking of the quality comparison. I know everybody, has their own opinion on what they thought of the movie. I thought Dial of Destiny was like a significant step up from what Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was, but that doesn't always translate to money, obviously. So I'm pretty surprised. I also think from like the more corporate side of it, like the Kathleen Kennedy type, like the higher up looking at the franchise, I definitely think that they saw that number, like 800 million. They're like, oh yeah, like we can definitely just bank on, if Harrison's in, like we can totally do this for one last hurrah, squeeze out almost $1 billion movie. And I think it's a big like eye opener for them. It's just like they can't just bank on a big IP to just make money. And it's not like a new realization. There's been instances of this happening as well in the past. So shocking for me, as well as I'm assuming the higher ups that are sweating right now.
Yeah, I'm sure mourning and stuff like that. But you make a good point. Like that's the benefit that Kathy has, because if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, I agree with you. The idea of doing maybe another last hurrah, maybe that was an issue. But if you look at that number, how do you not try again? Because now I don't think they would have maybe thought they'd make a loss. Like I think you might go, oh, we'll make a little under, but that's okay. Like we'll still make a profit. But the fact that it might be actually like put them in the red, that I wouldn't see for coming. But I could see looking at that, be like, yeah, we got to take another shot.
And that's probably why they had no issues with like having such a big budget for this, with like the super big press tour. And it's like, it doesn't even matter if our budget is like basically $500 million. Like we're gonna at least make 100 or 200 more million than what our budget was. So I mean, I guess the rules go that you gotta double your budget. So they were
usually
it was a losing battle from the get go. But
yeah, that's a lot. And 300 million, that's like, let me look up the Avengers Endgame budget. like to me, there's certain movies that should be that price tag.
Isn't that the classic though? That like amongst the two Avengers movies, they had $1 billion budget. Like
it wasn't. Like it probably was once you had advertising said and done. But still, so Avengers Endgame's budget's $356 million. So that means it was only $56 million more than Dial of Destiny. I just want to ask them, where's that money going? Where did all that money? Like I'm not saying the movie looks bad, but it's just like, how much did Harrison Ford, like how much did it take to get him back? Like is he just sitting on the biggest payday ever? Because $300 million
paid his medical bills when he got injured on set.
His workout plan. You remember seeing his abs.
The workout plan, the plane tickets for all the crashes and stuff like that. But no, it's just like, I don't know, like, and people brought up, it's a different time, but the budgets of the old Indiana Jones movies, like it's just nuts when you see it. So maybe that was a bad thing, but
this is something don't really know about. Does because the biggest market, of course, is the United States for this, and this came out on kind of the holiday weekend because the July 4th was kind of on a weird day this year, and I think Monday would be the day off as well for people in the U.S. and stuff like that. I don't even know how that stuff works in the U.S. to be honest, but would that be a factor? Is that a thing in traditional in the past we've seen, like on the holiday weekend people aren't going to the movies? Is that
No, it's
irrelevant?
usually reverse.
It's usually even more people
Yeah,
are going.
yeah. Usually it's because
Yeah, that's not good.
people are free. Like there's one. It was funny in 2006, the last time in July weekend had like a big bomb was Superman Returns when they did a new Superman movie. The first one was out Christopher Reeve, and that was like a big kind of disappointment and stuff. So usually the idea is, oh, people got an extra day, they're free, maybe they got some friends in
Yeah.
town. Let's go grab a ticket, and no tickets were grabbed. Well, tickets were grabbed, but not a bevy of them.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how this will do in the long term. I mean, it's very anecdotal. I'm not really on social media, but I just feel like there's a general, like, not knowingness from people that this was even coming out, or even if they did, they just weren't really interested in it. And I think part of it is potentially that streaming culture, potentially for, like, specifically the generation that this is targeting or something. Like, you know, we joked about my dad and his reactions when we were in the movie theater and whatnot, but it's interesting. Like, he loved those movies. Those movies I feel like are very important for his generation and stuff. But if I did not buy him a ticket and bring him to the theater, I don't even know if he knew. He probably saw a trailer at some point, but it just kind of was probably one of those things where it's like, yeah, well, check it out when it hits Disney Plus in a couple months, just because that expectation is just there now and that's more comfortable for people. So, yeah, I don't think I have many more insights beyond what you guys said, but I hope it does have, I guess, a long draw in the coming weeks. And I feel like, you know, Barbie and Oppenheimer being the next biggest things coming out, are those different, similar enough kind of markets that they're aiming for here? Maybe it can still find an audience, and hopefully it pulls a little bit of a Top Gun moment where it just keeps like crushing it through the summer. Maybe it's a good summer movie. People hear word of mouth, which, to your point, Travis, is mixed from what I've seen as well in terms of people recommending it or not, being into it, thinking it does or does not feel like Indiana Jones. You can go back to our review for all that discussion. But yeah, I feel like it's too bad because I did really enjoy the movie, obviously.
Yeah, and I feel like if it's mixed, I feel like it's still like a decent enough movie. It shouldn't be one of those movies that are just eating it at the box office and not making too much. Which obviously that's all subjective as far as good movies, good game, TV shows getting ratings, money, and stuff like that. But you like to type of see that stuff. But even then, it's even before Barbie and Oppenheimer, next week's Mission Impossible. So that's a problem when we talk about Top Gun.
True.
You
Another
got the
action
Top
movie
Gun
with
and
a
you got the
big
Top Gun
star.
King right there. Yeah, it's like Tom Cruise last movie star. So that's this week is a Joyride and Red Key or Red Door, whatever. I don't think those are going to do like amazing. So it has one more week. So you never know. Maybe it'll, like Elemental had that where it had the Pixar's worst opening weekend, but the past few weeks it's had like good drops. Nothing amazing where it's going to completely make up for it. But you know, maybe something down the line. But again, and it'll be very interesting because it's such a reverse. Obviously, you can tell about the qualities of the movie, but like last year, Top Gun, it was an 80s movie, came back, Tom Cruise huge, and now you got two different 80s icons with Harrison Ford's Indy, Michael Keaton's Batman, both like just eating it and doing terrible at the box office. So it's funny where it's like before kind of this year we're seeing now superhero movies are not guaranteed to succeed, and now we're seeing like nostalgia heroes coming back are not guaranteed to succeed either. Because I don't know if I would have said Indiana Jones would have been $1 billion, but I would have, if you would have said would it have failed, like maybe lost money, no. Same thing with The Flash, no. And if you would have asked me last year Top Gun, I would not have said it would have been the second biggest movie of the year before Avatar came out. So it's just like such a weird, and maybe it's just like Top Gun was exception rule, that something about that movie just got in people's like in their skin in a good way. Because it's just, it's funny that we've had two people, and even then I'd argue both Indiana Jones and Michael Keaton, who was the first Batman, were bigger characters than Top Gun and Maverick, who had one movie in the 80s, but he's just like, those movies are combined make like 1/4, not even 1/4 of what Top Gun did altogether. And it's just, I don't get it. I really don't.
I mean, we even have, interestingly, like 3 examples now of Harrison Ford returning to a role from decades prior when he was like the biggest name in the world. And obviously Star Wars is huge, but it's hard to attribute that to Harrison Ford because there's so many people coming back, and in Star Wars it's something completely different. But then Blade Runner, that kind of aided at the box office as well, right? Which obviously Blade Runner of these 3 franchises is definitely the smallest. But yeah, I don't know. It's I guess it just kind of goes to show that 2 out of 3, you know, Harrison Ford is not necessarily going to get people going out to the movie theater these days.
Yeah, and then the last point I forgot to bring up too, when you were bringing up stuff, is when you're talking about like how Star Wars kind of like they try to future proof and with these new young stars and stuff. It's like we saw it with Helena, but just I don't know if you can do that with Indy. You know, like I don't know what they're like. I wonder if there's a multiverse somewhere where we got that movie where Chris Pratt's the new Indiana Jones and they just rebooted it, and if it makes more. And there, I would have not thought so, but now when I'm seeing this, I'm not saying it had to be Chris Pratt, but I'm just saying if right now in 2023 we had a new Indiana Jones movie, because hey, we got a new Han Solo movie with a new actor and that bombed, right? So it's not guaranteed. It's not like, oh yeah. So I just wonder now if like if you throw a hot young star in there and just kind of start again, if it would have done better now. Because I don't think you can do spin-offs with Indy. I don't think, as much as like Helena, even if the movie is a hit, I don't know if you could go that route. Like it's always Indiana Jones and the Star Wars is still Star Wars. And it's about, you know, there's your main characters, but you got multiple families and factions. But Indy is always Indy and the supporting people, you know? So.
No, I mean, you know, we're gonna do our rankings here soon, and I even struggled to come up with 5 characters that to me were interesting enough to rank, you know, and that just goes to show. But I think really the root of the issue is kind of what you mentioned earlier, of just like that budget is fucking stupid for this movie.
Yeah.
Like that is gonna make that's like a massive uphill battle for them. So I'm really curious to if we'll hear in the coming months or whatever, just the stories of how it ended up getting to that budget. And I mean, yeah, it honestly very well could just be Harrison Ford with a fucking huge ass paycheck, like Robert Downey style paycheck.
Yeah, and it's funny too. Like I think now they're kind of spending on movies that they were in 2019, when I think there was like 8-9 movies that made $1 billion in a year, which was unforeseen. And that's where I think people had that mindset of like, oh, well, these movies, even if they lowball, they'll still make a profit and then some. But that's not the case anymore. So this Flash, some other ones, they got to start really strapping it down on these budgets. If you got the Avengers, if you got Batman, I understand these bigger, and even. I don't understand Indy, actually. To that point, I don't. Because even what was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's budget? Let's see here. Kingdom.
185.
CGI.
185.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like
Crazy.
it's that like
It made
the
almost
ants-
800 million.
Yeah, like the ants look bad and all, but like still, it's like 185. So it went up 110 million. From it just, I don't know how that happens. It's just. Yeah, so I think
Kennedy, if you're asking Taylor.
Yeah. Taylor, before we move on, last what were we chuckling about? I was talking to Dylan.
I was just
loud.
picturing the name Indiana Jones and the supporting cast.
Oh,
This is the
yeah.
title
That's
for
the
a
next
film.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
placeholder, but then they never end up changing it.
Exactly.
There's some super low budget where Indy's just like at a retirement home talking about his adventures. Like his adventures just to break out of the home. Like that's it. So like a 40 million, very personal Indiana Jones, you know, stuff like
Crazy.
that. But yeah. So that's it. Well, let's take our last ad break, and then we're gonna, I guess, sunset Indiana Jones until, you know, I guess we got a video game at some point coming out, and maybe
Yep.
one day there'll be a reboot for the film. So we'll talk about Indiana Jones again one day. But as far as the Harrison Ford run, we're gonna close out right here after this. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So as usual, when we do these ones that aren't just kind of a random rankings, I'm going to start with the films, because if people have heard our retro stuff like that, they probably got a general idea. There's only 5, so there's not too much versatility and stuff like that. But Mr. Musk, I'm going to start with you. How would you rank the 5 Indiana Jones films that we've gotten so far? Well, yes.
Yeah, the bottom 2 kind of easy for me. I mean, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is going to be last place for sure. And then, you know, huge jump up. I'm putting number 4 as Temple of Doom. Sorry, Travis, I had to do it. It's not even bad for me. It's clearly better than Kingdom, but clearly worse than the other 3. But I still enjoyed the movie. It still is well made and all that jazz. And then for my top 3, I actually really struggled with the order of these 3. I put them so close to each other that it really could flip, and you could ask me a month from now, and honestly, my answer might be different. You know, if someone asked that question for our 8-year anniversary cast, I might have a different answer than I even have today. But for today,
Don't
I'm going
ask
to
that
go. Yeah.
Give us your indie rankings.
We can break from India after this.
Ask something else. That's something, yeah.
Who's your top 5 Indiana Jones characters? I'm going to go with Last Crusade at number 3. I'm going to go with Dial of Destiny at number 2.
Ooh.
And then I'm going with the OG, Raiders of the Lost Ark, at number 1. I think there's maybe some character stuff I like the most there, perhaps. And for me, it's honestly just the sets, like having the Egypt iconography, having even just that kind of tomb section at the beginning. I just visually love what they did in that first one. It was really exactly what I'm kind of looking for in here, and I feel like they have to get weird and different in the next ones, and I feel like they just kind of nailed it in the first one in terms of that actual tomb raiding kind of version of the character. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that ranking. I'm glad to see Dial up there at number 2.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pitch that I want a Harrison Ford or like an Indiana Jones John Wick, but I hope if we ever get a reboot, they get back to that original and just like they make it small scale and kind of like what Force Awakens tried to do, like try and get as much practicality as possible. Even if it's just like you get a low star, like a smaller star, and you make it just for like 60, 80 million. It's just like
You don't have to train rats, do some other non-rat plot line.
You can see. We'll give you the CGI animals, I guess, but the rest of the stuff, But Mr. Field, the rankings. What are your films?
I'm gonna start at the bottom. I know usually sometimes I start at the top before, but special
Mixing up
occasion.
today.
Special occasion.
This I really, really had to think
No,
hard at this, and
don't do it.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
It's really, really tough, and I feel bad like vocalizing my rankings list.
God. He's
Number
gonna
five.
do
That's a
it.
bad sign if he's not even confident in his
I
ranking.
can't say this. I'll just send it to you guys. Somebody else reads it off.
Never would be revealed on air.
Number 5, I have The Last Crusade.
Oh
my
my
God.
God. That's even worse than I thought.
What? That is absolutely not what I thought you were gonna say.
How do you have Last
Wow.
Crusade at last?
Oh,
I had to look at
God.
these in the sense of what I really enjoy, and again, they're all great films. I enjoy them all, but then I had to think in terms of rewatchability, what ones am I going to be rewatching over others? And Last Crusade, when I look at it,
It's last.
it's last. Yeah,
You've chosen poorly.
it's at the bottom for me. Next, I have Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Saw that
yeah.
coming.
I thought that was gonna be last, but no. It's got
Dial of Destiny in there. Crystal Skull is my number 3rd because
thank
I actually really like that hurrah of Indiana Jones adventure. Like he feels like old man Indiana Jones, but I feel like he's doing much more like action fighting and swinging around than he did in Dial of Destiny. And
Because
it just-
he's 20 years older in Dial of Destiny.
I know.
He shouldn't be swinging around.
I also like, aside from how crazy that ending does really get, I really do like the introduction of aliens into Indiana Jones. It's just the movie felt like an Indiana Jones experience. It felt like a good time, and I'm just a sucker for that 2000s Lucas films, CGI shit.
Should we say this spoilers open here for Dial because I know it just came out. Are we?
Yeah.
spoiler
If
for
you
it?
haven't seen Dial, maybe come back later and check it out later. Ask us on our 8-year.
Number 2, Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom is just good. And honestly, like I used to put Temple of Doom above Raiders, and so this is like it's very, very close, very, very close. But like
surprised.
going through this whole retro with you guys and like just kind of working through like some of the characters and some of the like the scenes and stuff, it just made me think, okay, yeah, I'm putting it number 2 because Raiders is my number 1.
Well, you have a good number 1 at least. I can agree with that.
My last, let's get the sane people in the room. King of the Crystal Skull here. That has to be last. I can't. We've talked about that. Go check that out. Just that's the whole debate about Dial. What feels like, doesn't feel like indie. That doesn't feel like at all. Kind of like what Dylan said with Temple. My next would be Dial, but it is like a massive jump up. It's not like it's fun. It's just like 5 is way off the screen and 4 is right there. And then at number 3, I got Last Crusade. Number 2, I have Raiders, and number 1, I have Temple. Again, that's my favorites list in my rankings. If you're asking what the best one is, I would say Raiders. I think Raiders is a better movie than Temple. I just think Temple has a few more things I enjoy. Like I said, I really like the horror aesthetic. I love the voodoo stuff. I love Short Round. I really like the dynamic between Indy and Willie. I love stuff like the James Bond-esque opening, the whole bridge scene. Like there's so much stuff that when I think of India, I think of that. Because it's funny, I've been talking to some people and the mutuals would say so my problem is that it doesn't have much story. And I think I could agree with that, but maybe that's just what I like is it's just like a good adventure. The story is we got to get out alive and save some people. And that works enough for me if you got great actors, action, set pieces, characters, comedic stuff. So yeah, Temple Doom is my number 1. Against much of the internet's dismay, Temple Doom is getting the top slot. So yeah.
Nice.
Green Panther.
All right, yeah, my top 5 start at the bottom. I got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, pretty easy pick for me there. Number 4, I have Dial of Destiny. I feel like I spoiled that in our review. So then, starting at number 3, continuing on at number 3, I have Temple of Doom, followed by Last Crusade, and then Raiders as my number 1. And the 1 and 2, those have gone back and forth a lot, like throughout my life. I feel like there was a period where Last Crusade was just like, that was my staple number 1, like it without a question. But you know, as I'm getting older, maybe a little more wiser, it's just like the one indie movie. I feel like the first thing I think of when I think of Indiana Jones is just so many sequences from that first movie. The opening sequence, it's just, it's almost like what Dylan was talking about, just like the tomb raiding aspect. Like he really is doing all of like the classic indie things in that movie. Not saying, you know, things he does in other movies aren't indie things, but I just feel like that's how I know the character, is him going through like a tomb to get an artifact, and like that image. It doesn't matter if it isn't Indiana Jones. I just think that's such an Indiana Jones type thing with his badass hat. He's got his satchel, his whip, and he's just in there doing like the weighted bag thing. Might be spoiling a scene, but but yeah, no, I love all these movies. Like even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I didn't fail that movie. I think that just speaks like, you know, the overall franchise, but specifically those top 3, like those are 10 out of 10 movies in my eyes. I love them so much. So yeah, I Raiders, Last Crusade, those are my easy top 2.
Well, Kirk and Patzer, start us. Where do you want to go next? You got scene, you got artifact, or characters?
Let's do scenes. I was kind of alluding to to a possible favorite scene of mine from Raiders. Actually, I'm going to start there. My number 1 favorite scene in Indiana Jones is the opening of Raiders. For basically all the reasons I was saying on my explanation for why I have Raiders number 1. Like, it's just, it has everything that I could possibly want in like an Indiana Jones sequence. You got the giant ball chasing him, the traps.
It's a boulder. That's not a ball.
Okay, sorry, the sphere. He's got his like his helper that just completely betrays him. Like,
Alfred
it's just
Molina,
a lot of
big Alfred Molina.
It kind of like shocked me. I feel like I'd never realized it was him until this viewing. A bit of a forgettable character, but yeah, I was fortunate enough to see it like when I went to Orlando, Florida. I saw like the recreation of that like whole sequence, so that's just really stuck with me like my entire life. I love the opening.
Ford
Raiders
was there recreating the whole scene.
I don't think so, but as a kid, you probably could have fooled me.
Stapling hats to his head.
God damn it. Yeah.
Okay, that's my number
More.
1 from Raiders. Number 2, I have another Raiders scene. This is I just wrote it in as the sword fight, air quotes, but it's a pretty long sequence. It's basically when the bad guys are trying to get to Marion, and then you just have like a lot of chaotic stuff going on. Of course, you have like the supposed sword fight that was supposed to happen. Harrison Ford didn't want to do it, so he just shot the guy. But that entire sequence, it's just very fun to watch. It's very chaotic, but also like very well choreographed. Again, that's another scene that they did the recreation at my Disney adventure, so that was really cool to see live and just really stuck with me. So that's my number 2. Number 3, I have a Temple of Doom scene here. This is the Kalima, the heart rip out scene that just like stuck with me so much from the first time I'd seen that movie. It's pretty terrifying and not what I was expecting to see. I remember being really, really freaked out by that one, and it's just really ingrained in my memory. Number 4, I got a Last Crusade scene. This is the Chosen Poorly sequence when you have the bad guy have the false Holy Grail and he just melts away. Another scene that just completely stuck with me, terrified me, but also like I love that line where it's like, "You have chosen poorly." I feel like I drop that in my day-to-day at least once a month. Like it's pretty often I bring that up, and yeah, just wonderful scene. You could extend that, but it's mostly just like that initial moment when the guy realizes he's fucked up, and
Not
then
when he's in the cave waving. He puts his hand up.
I mean, yeah, if you want to go generalize, yeah, that entire sequence from when they get into the cave.
Even the part of the girl when she's like, I'm so close to the chalice.
And it goes to
part
Indy.
two?
I'm so close, Dad. I got it.
Dad! Look at
Number 5, my number 5 favorite scene, another Crusade scene. This is the tank rescue when you have Henry Jones Sr. and Marcus Brody in the tank, and then you have Indy on the horse. Just the entire like sequence of with the big battle tank. Just really, really cool visually to see, and of course another practical scene that's just very rewatchable. They did such a good job at shooting that, and Yeah, it's just cool to see Indy dismantle a German tank on a horse. You use the classic put a rock in the thing and then it just explodes. So yeah, that's my top 5 favorite scenes from the Indiana Jones universe. Little I don't know. You can call me old fashioned. I just stuck to the original films, but I honestly probably could have picked 4 out of 5 just from Raiders, but I kind of wanted to limit myself.
Yeah, I'll go next. The reverse snake order. That's where I'm going. I didn't have any new scenes as well. Well, I guess the other two. Nothing from Skull would make it. And then Dial's just too new. There's a couple that are batting around, but it's tough for me to supplant the other ones because they've been around for like 30 plus years. So I think there's, and they're like little scenes too. So it's like I said, it's like I've talked about before, like on the review, like I like when Indy and Helena had that conversation about the time and stuff like that. But I need some, maybe there's that scene of Boyd Holbrook shooting all the guys and stuff. Maybe that'll be a top 5, but not today and stuff like that. So my number 5, I'll go in reverse, is the bridge sequence from Temple. I love when they get out of there. Oh, another kind of to go with this, I almost put in the Kali Ma thing. I was back and forth. I love the room, love the lighting, just didn't quite get it. But most of them are pretty much mostly just action set pieces, but they're just thrilling stuff. But yeah, so I love the bridge thing. I love the back and forth. I love the cutting it. I love the alligators. I love the climbing. There's some shoddy CG with some of the guys falling every once in a while, but I think it's just like a very fun, high octane sequence. So I got that. Me and Dylan talked about this on the retrospective. Also in Crusade. So in Crusade scene I have was the actual of like the tomb and getting in there and getting past everything. I love the pacing of it. Again, I actually love the fake out of it looks like there's nothing and then he steps and there is a thing there. So I really enjoy that one. So that's my number 4. My number 5, the hotel from Temple. So another Temple Dune scene. I don't know where you would want to start it. To me, I guess it'd be a cheat because it's a long scene, but everything from Willie and Harrison or Willie and Indy having this like chicken for who's going to make the first move to when him and Short Round go there and Willie has to save them and just that moment of Indy just, if you don't hit that button, we are going to die. Like all the hijinks when they figure it out and then Willie hits it again. Like love everything about that situation there in the hotel Temple. So just that, not the eating part. That's fine. Number 2, this one's probably just because pure filmmaking. I put the car chase from number 1. We talked about this, how I just love how long that car chase goes on, the amount of bad guys, the fun little trivia we learned about it, just what went into it. It's just, again, a thrilling scene. It's one of those scenes that I said on the retro, you feel like an old timer. You're just like, man, they just don't make movies like they used to. And that's what this car chase feels like. It's flawless. It's just so much fun. It's sprinkled with comedy and action. And then my number 1 scene, no different than Kirk in the opening of Raiders, just because I think that's like, if you were to show, hey, what is define Indiana Jones for me, the entire series, you just show someone that scene. And even then, it's like other than him not getting the thing, it's like a nice little short film, right? Of just, it could be, a Tomb Raider trying to get something. So yeah, the opening for Raiders is also my number 1. So Taylor Field, your top 5 scenes.
I have an honorable mention here that did not make it. Is my only mention of Crystal Skull for scenes, but when Indy is sitting there and the Crystal Skull's in front of him and just that music clicks in, like the vibration, and it's just like zoning him out. Just an intensely powerful scene. Really like that, but it is an honorable mention. It did not make the cut. What did make the cut at number 5, Temple of Doom, Kali Ma, just, it's just like, what the fuck? This is just such a tonal shift from everything that we've come so far into this film. And it's just, as a kid watching this, it's like, oh my God, it's freaky. Number 4, Dial Destiny. Now, yes, the meme of the Nazi guy shooting out of the front of the gun, that's the meme. But that is not my favorite scene. As much as I love that scene because it's absolutely outrageous, the scene that tops it for me is just the portal rift opening up, not knowing where they were going to end up, and then blasting in with their airplanes, and they're flying over just Roman soldiers. It was just so cool. And just I had no problem with the CGI. I was watching the whole scene, thought this is fucking great. Like,
Sound
man,
like you're on trial there.
This is incredible. So I was totally on board with that. I have what's that?
There's other scenes you have, yeah.
There is. Number 3, Last Crusade. Jones bumping into Hitler. That always just cracks me up because he just has that crazy expression on his face, like you were talking to when we did that retro. It just I guess that like dumbfounded luck, like I can't believe this, and like Hitler just signs the book, and just the coincidence of that, and just Hitler's. You said it better, but like his. What would be the term, like idiocy of just unexpectedly, like this is the book he needs for the Holy Grail, like this is what he's looking for, but he's just so like dumbfounded. It's just like, oh yeah, here you go, just sends him off. But just the way the music is playing and everything, it's a very quirky scene that just kind of cracks me up. Number 2, Raiders of the Lost Ark, that end scene when they're wheeling the Ark away and that Ark theme kicks in, as like, holy fuck, look at this American base with like all of these chests and stuff. And I'm thinking, man, oh, this is Cryptic Clues like times infinity. Like, this is some good shit. Really, really cool ending to that movie. It just has so much mystery. And like at that point on, like, I just feel like if this is this is obviously the first movie you get, it just feels like, man, we could have like 100 billion Indiana Jones movies, because look at all these look at all these boxes. This is incredible.
I wonder if that would be the next step. Obviously, I say this as Pixar and stuff isn't doing that well, but imagine you make like a really good animated Pixar movie, or not even Pixar, just animated Indiana Jones movie, But
That'd be
probably
pretty
won't
cool.
do that.
I'm down.
My number 1, and it's just the scene that I always kind of defer to when I hear Raiders of the Lost Ark. When he is in the little small miniature sand sculpture of the town, and the music. This is when you get the full on Ark theme, and it just kicks in, and he places a staff, and it's like that's the intensity of him standing there, and like the sun is coming down, and I can't do a recreation of the score because it's just too good. Yeah. Yeah. But holy fuck, it just gives me goosebumps. It gives me absolute goosebumps. Plus, you have one of my favorite Family Guy moments of just when
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, that's great. But no, in Raiders of the Lost Ark alone, it's such an incredible moment. It's so powerful, so heavy. Everything that follows that moment too is just really, really good. When they're digging up the Ark and like the clouds are getting darker above them, and just like it just feels like, wow. Everything about that is just like, humans shouldn't be doing this, and they're doing it. So
You're doing it. Love it. I'll go next. So number 5 for me is going to be the Kirkland. You called it the sword fight scene. I'll go with that too, from Raiders. It's a longer sequence. It's a chase sequence. There's Marion jumping into baskets. There's the monkey messed around, but just such a fun extended sequence. Number 4, I'm surprised no one mentioned this, especially Travis, but I went with the Indy and Willie kind of will they won't they sequence when they're talking about making love, and then they don't make love, and then he gets. Did you have that one
in the hotel? Yeah, in the hotel. Yeah.
He kind of cheated. He had a long version.
I said it was a cheat. I don't know where the scene because that leads to them like.
I thought you meant like
room.
I thought it was maybe a hotel at the beginning, like the Bond stuff. I thought you meant that sequence. But.
No, we're in the same place.
There you go. That sequence is very funny, even though Temple was lower on my list. Number 3, I put The Last Crusade, just kind of the ending tomb sequence with the guys getting chopped up by the saws, and then he goes in like Jehovah, and then there's like the bridge. The CGI is definitely whack in that sequence, but I think it just adds to it. So I don't know where you'd put the start and end of that scene, but just that general sequence. Just like Taylor, I put the Dial of Destiny time travel scene. Once again, this is a long extended sequence, but meme aside, I really love what that scene does for the character. I love the suspense that was built up. Visually, I thought it was fantastic. So yeah, that was number 2 for me. And then just like Kirkland, just like Travis, I put the opening scene from Raiders as my number 1. That was like when I was starting to make this list and I was thinking best scenes, that was immediately the first one that came to mind. Boom, on the list, number 1. So there you go.
Hear that, Taylor? You're wrong. You got the wrong answer.
I'm just a weak beta, apparently.
You were a weak beta. That's okay. Midway through, I was like, I maybe should put the column on top 5. As I was like thinking about it, I'm like, this is a great.
A lot of good scenes.
So I made that switch. Dylan, characters or artifacts?
Let's do characters. Let's do characters. This is gonna be so. We decided to do like not include Indy, right? Just because he would be number 1.
Unless is he not anyone's number 1?
I literally have 4 on my list, and I was going to ask you guys for advice on who I could put 5th. So it would honestly just make more sense if I just put Indy at 1. And then
do Indy, yeah.
Just because I don't have enough. I was thinking like Elsa as my 5. That's where I'm at for my number 5.
Yeah. So it's not the like strongest. I have some, but they're not like other franchises.
Yeah,
because it's an indie show,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, spoiler. He's my number 1, obviously. Number 5. I honestly, once again, with these like 2 through 5 here, you really could switch up the order. Once again, ask me on the 8-year cast. I'll give you a different version of this. But for today, I'm gonna go number 5, short round. Just so much fun. That's all I need to say about him. Number 4, I'm gonna go Henry Jones Sr. My first time seeing, I forget the actor's name, but the first
Sean
time
Connery.
first time seeing Sean Connery act, so that was pretty cool moment for me. Great character, a lot of fun, love the dynamic. Number 3, I'm going with Wombat Helena from Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Go back to our review. Me and Travis just praised the hell out of that character, and I
Hell
think
yes.
Kirkland, Clay. I think you guys make some good arguments and all, but I love that character, and I'll see how I feel on the second viewing with your guys' criticism in mind. But that character worked for me.
Sexist pigs. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Number 2 for me, I'm gonna put Marion. I do feel slightly weird about this one because I think Raiders is by far the best version of that character.
Yeah.
Once again, going back to the review or the retro, I liked that character kind of subverted the expectations and could have been very tropey, but it was instead not, and was a very cool and just very independent, strong kind of character and all that. And Kingdom, she's in there for a little bit. Dial, she's like in there, but like barely. It's really just that Raiders performance for me. But, having a character that is important to Indy and has been there through the whole journey, it is cool to see those other moments. But though it's definitely Raiders that brought her up to number 2 for me. And the other performances, they don't bring it down. It's just they don't really necessarily rise it up anymore. So
Yeah.
there you go. And then, Indy, number 1.
Kirkland, you go next because I want to end with Taylor because I feel like characters
Oh.
for Taylor's going to be something. So there's going to be like guy in the truck.
Enemy in the tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enemy in the tree.
Soul in the
Um,
rock.
Okay, so starting at the bottom, number 5. I guess my gold number 1 would be Indy.
Yeah.
So he's above my number 1, or yeah, we'll go that way. Number 5, I have Marcus Brody. Not like a big character at all, but I do like his inclusion. I do like his just introduction to like setting Indy on these adventures. Again, there's not many characters that like I could pull on my list, so it was an okay number 5, I guess.
He's
and
probably
then
halfway around the world right now. You don't even know what that
yeah,
stone is.
specifically
Hello?
that
Anybody
like
know?
without that scene, he wouldn't be on my list. But like that scene is just so good, and it
great
makes me
scene.
laugh every time. So, yeah. Number 4, I have Salah, another character that's not super relevant throughout the entire series, but I specifically in the first movie, I think he's just such a stellar like side character to Indy and helping him out in his ventures. Just a really fun, friendly guy that just at no point you think that he could like go against Indy. Like he just totally seems like a really nice, trusting character. So yeah, I got Salah there, and then number 3 I have Marion. It would, like Dylan said, it would basically just be for like that first movie's performance. I think that's the biggest one for him. Well, in second thought, I think in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull she doesn't do anything for me, but the end of Dial of Destiny, although I do want more, just having her like in that scene, I think did a lot to just pull up those nostalgic feelings I was like having in those moments, and brought me to the point of like actually having a tear in my eye of just like, wow, if I say goodbye to Indy in this moment, I am glad that Marion's there with him in the end. So yeah, and then number 2, I got Short Round. Fantastic character, so fun. And then number 1, I have Henry Jones Sr. Yeah, I love Sean Connery in that movie. I love the dynamic between Indy and him, and I think even just him alone without Indy, I think he's so great in that movie. Like just his body language, the way like his line delivery. I haven't seen much of Sean Connery, but like that is a very different Sean Connery than what I had seen. I've seen him like, I think in a humor role, maybe on like an SNL type thing, or just James Bond. So there you go. That's like my spread of Sean Connery experience. But yeah, I think he's fantastic, and that would be my number 1 side character in the Indiana Jones universe.
Nice.
You know the SNL one probably wasn't him, right? It's
It
probably
looks
the-
like him. So
the
there you go.
Jeopardy. Yeah,
The
that-
voice
that-
is good. The voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Made me
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah, so number 5, I'm the same as Kirkland. I got Marcus Brody in there as well. Like, I don't know. He brings a smile to my face. I'm sad that the guy did pass away because I would love to seen him back and forth. Just like, it's definitely Crusade and just the comedic beats they use him for. But the actor plays it so well. It's like not being a complete loof, but being a little and over his head. And I think he just the perfect amount of what he can do with his screen time. So I got that. I probably got her ranked the lowest, but as Marianne, I like her. I just have never been overly in love with the romance. Like I like it enough, as I talked about on the retro. You know, I find I'm definitely more a Han Leia guy, and I feel like it's there. I do like Marianne, but I don't. I think maybe Crystal Skull does take a little bit of that down because it's just. I think there was some stuff to get into there, and it's never the actress's fault, I don't think. But yeah, she's still in the top 5. You know, Jones Senior, he's in there. Connery's great comedic timing. You know, love all the emotional beats he has with Junior and the back and forth they had. We talked about great father son dynamic. Number 2 is Helena Shaw. Now,
Nice.
she could be number 1, but I just can't do it yet. But I said that on the review that I think she's my favorite character other than Indy, and I think that probably is the case. But I need to let it stew for a little bit because my number 1 is Short Round, and I've loved Short Round since I was a kid. It's not just because he Kwan says resurgence. Like this and Goonies were all in the house a lot, and I love just those 2 performances from him as a kid are just stellar. And I this is something that I always wonder when I watch this movie why they never made sure he was not in the rest of them, you know, like, even though they just did 3, like how did they not have him in The Last Crusade with everybody? You know, it's just like he was such a great side character, and I know they tried to replicate that a little bit with Teddy in this news one, which I didn't mind Teddy, he was fine, but especially back then in the 80s to nail this kid actor role so rare. So yeah, Short Round's my number 1, and maybe Helena will replace him in a couple of years, but gotta stew on that a little. So Taylorfield, are these characters? Do you have Indiana Jones, or is he separate, or where does that go?
I thought you were gonna ask. Do you have any of the characters that we've listed so far?
Yeah. He's like, nope.
I will say, Travis, our lists are identical except for one character.
Whoa,
Wow,
that's
really?
very rare in the
I'm
history
very
of Geeks
surprised.
Rare.
Very rare.
So is
Soak
it one
it in,
character?
audience. That will not happen again for another 8 years.
Oh, and let me guess, it's Helena. Hey.
You're out.
We'll
Helena.
see.
Sexist pig. They don't get it. Indy can be a jerk. It's fine. Helena, no.
She's terrible.
Number 5, Marcus Brody.
Indy's terrible.
Definitely. Number 4, Marianne. Absolutely. Number 3, Henry Jones Sr. Already been said. Number 2, I have Salah. I love Salah so much. Bad dates. He's definitely freaking awesome.
Bad dates. Grabs his hand.
And then number 1, I have Short Round. He's just, I'm with you, Travis. Like it is a crime against humanity not to put Short Round back in like another film. Like he is just a legendary character. It is so upsetting. I don't know what Disney was doing. They're looking at that 800 million from Kingdom Crystal Skull and thinking Short Round who? It's just fucking bullshit. So.
Steven Spielberg passes away. He goes to the afterlife, and all of a sudden just flames everywhere. And like, what'd I do? You didn't put Short Round in Indy 3. And he's just in hell for the rest of his life. Crime against humanity, they say. All right, artifacts. Taylor Field. Rank the 5 artifacts. And what is your base on ranking? Is it like how it was done in the film, what you would personally want? Like I feel like this is a very subjective one, but how did you rank them?
It's personally just like what really wowed me and like wooed me, like like it's like just little shots.
Gave you a heart attack.
Which
and
really
orgasm
wowed and then
sometimes?
wooed me, and then you do an orgasm
And then you
noise.
came.
Yeah. I know what scene. Yeah.
Number 5, I put the Holy Grail. That's down there for me.
Oh, come on.
I mean, there's he can't.
The fucking alien's going to be number 1.
You
Is
chose
What are you gonna
it.
do? Like, you
Funny.
can't do anything with the Holy Grail. You got What are you gonna live with the fucking Crusader and the cave
Yeah.
for the rest of your life?
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
give
stories.
it though. Yeah, he has tons of stories. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of other fancier goblets. That goblet can stay there with the knight. Number 4, I got the stones. These things are pretty cool. I do like rocks. Rocks can be pretty interesting. Let's see. I got some malachite right here. You know, all about I got a malachite elephant. I'm all about these fantastical stones and stuff. So
They're called the Sankara stones. There.
Sankara stones. Thank you. Also appeared in Ander series, so that's a very cool crossover
Yeah.
there.
That's right.
Number 3, got the Crystal Skull. Ever since they were talking about Crystal Skulls, I remember I was high school. I was like, this is the shit. Like, we're in it now, boys. But
And they left him.
The government. They're revealing the secrets through the Indiana Jones movie.
oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, Crystal Skulls, pretty cool thing. Number 2, I got the dial. I really like this device, and I liked how I thought it was really just fascinating how instead of it being just a time machine device, it's really just no matter what, it'll just go back to this specific point in time device. I just think it's really cool. I liked how it was two halves had to be combined. Everything about that was just super, super interesting. Using nothing crazy. It was just mathematical equations, and somehow mathematics was able to open a rift in time with this stuff. I don't understand all of it, but it's cool. So I'll keep that number 2. And number 1 is obviously the Ark. The Ark is just, Ark of the Covenant. It was in Assassin's Creed, and it's here. It's just, this is like crazy.
There you go, Mr. Muss.
I will go with number 5, these stones. When I was making this list, I could not remember what was the artifact from Doom. So there you go. Number 4, Crystal Skull. Number 3, the Grail. Number 2, the Ark. Number 1, the Dial of Destiny for me. Honestly, I don't think I really care about any of these except for the Dial. I think for me, it's more about the journey, not the the journey, not the destination. It's more about the riddles rather than like the actual item. But that dial is fucking sick, and I would love to have one of those on my desk. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. I kind of put them in the place of just like what I enjoy as far as the movie goes and stuff like that. So that's why obviously I talked about this on the review of being back and forth between aliens and time travel. But for me, I have Skull being last just because like I was the reverse. I didn't actually really like the look of the skull. I think it was just too, it wasn't subtle. It was subtle as a shotgun as far as just like the way it lit up, the size of it, everything like that. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of Skull. I got Dial next because again, I like the look of it, but the idea of time travel, I'm kind of all over and stuff like that. I got the stones at number 3, where I obviously I love Temple, but I feel like the MacGuffin is the weakest part, but I still like it. Yeah, maybe I'd kick it back, actually. Maybe I'd put Dial. Yeah, I'll put the Dial above the stones, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because it is the least part. I can't put it past the skull, because I just don't like the skull. It just looks like too just kitty. But yeah, so there you go. I'll switch up there last minute. The Holy Grail at number 2. Yes, Taylor's right. You would just have to drink and sit there with this guy and be there for years. But I think just the idea, it's more up until that happens, the mystique of it, of like you can find this thing that gives you immortal life and stuff like that. And I love the play on when you get there. It's like, yeah, you get immortal life, you're just immortally here forever and stuff like that. And you got the Chalice and stuff like that. And then yes, the Ark. I think it's one of the what?
You said
I
stuff
did
like that,
like that.
probably
Yeah, I
4
did.
times in the last 2 sentences.
Oh,
so.
did I? Wow.
Now I'm like super aware of it after reading that.
Good. I got to stop it.
Sorry,
but,
go ahead.
I can drop in once in a while. I don't want to drop in all the time. But anyway, stuff like that. I'm joking. And then it's the Ark. I love that film. Is definitely more about the adventure. I don't like the Ark. Looks fine, but what I enjoy about it is the mystique around it. And I think this is so high on the list and would always be number 1. And we're probably just getting the 5 movies. But what I like is we do see the face melting, but you don't really technically see everything about it. You see some things, Indy closes eyes, you do see some spirits and stuff like that, but I still feel like there is a shroud of mystery around it, and it closes right away. I just feel that is the most kind of dangerous of them all. Even though one can time travel, which could be pretty dangerous, there's just something about the Ark that I feel like it's kind of like The Ring, where you would look at it and you'd want to you'd hear some voices going on, maybe the poor tortured souls that have taken it. So I like the just creepy aesthetic around it and kind of the mystery that they still keep it, even though we still get to find it and kind of take off the lid and everything. But yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I kind of have a different list from you guys. Maybe I misunderstood this rankings. I don't know. I had to pick an artifact from each movie. Maybe I didn't, but it seems like that's what you guys did. So if I had to do that, it would be the exact same ranking of my movies. It would just be Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Dial of Destiny, Doom, Last Crusade, and then the first movie. But no, for my list, at number 5, I actually went with the Golden Idol from the opening of Raiders, specifically just because of kind of like what it is. I feel like just
that's my number 1. That's my number 1.
I feel like just that idea
fair.
of the Golden Idol is just such an easy treasure to have. So it's so easy to think of like that one treasure item, attaching that to the opening of Raiders, at least for me. So I included it in my list, although it doesn't
Me
have
too.
a major
My number 1
appearance. But yeah.
Yeah, I would kick down the Skull. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think about the other ones. So
Well, yeah, that's my number 5, and then number 4, again, different one. I have the headpiece of the Staff of Ra. I just love the look of it so much, and I love the fact that it's more than just a cool trinket. Like it actually, Indy uses it to find the location of the arc, and it just has so much more has a bigger purpose than just a cool paperweight on your desk. And then back to the mainstream ones. Number 3, I had the Sin Cara stones. They're just very like memorable to me. I don't know. I feel like they're not the prettiest looking artifacts by any means, but like when they're glowing and when they have them like in that skull thing with like the 2 eyes, just a really cool visual. Number 2, Holy Grail. Mostly just for what it represents. I feel like growing up, I just heard of like the fountain of youth and like that sort of idea. So especially the first, like just the whole adventure of the Last Crusade, just thinking that like you could see what that actually looks like. Of course, it's got like a little asterisk next to it. You got to sit there with Stinky Joe next to you. But
Stinky Joe.
yeah, yeah, number 2, and then number 1, I got Ark of the Covenant. It's more than just what it kind of does. I feel like what it represents is really intriguing, especially the mystery to it. And like Travis was mentioning, like just comparing it to like what the ring does. Like, yeah, you're just like, there's more than just a box in there. Like there is just like tortured souls or something like whispering to you from, I don't even know, like another realm, another world.
Yeah.
Like it's so supernatural, more so than just having ghosts in there.
Like
It's
if
also
you were to put it in a glass case and have a machine and lift up the lid, what would happen? You know, Like, would it
screams.
still come and get you? Would it go through the glass? Like
You know when
the
Harry
electronics would
gets
all get
attacked by
fuzzed
that
out.
Dementor on the train and he hears Harry? I feel like I would hear something like that.
It destroys the electronics around you, right? So I feel like it would just stop the machine
Does
from
it?
working and the lid wouldn't close. Yeah, remember all the Nazis had like the cameras and the lights and everything?
guess
and
so,
It
yeah.
destroyed everything electrical.
damn.
Also,
Now would it be caught on film? Like let's say if you, oh no, they get rid of it all, right? So that's tough. I'm
You
just
need a
trying to see-
camera like very far away with a good zoom in lens.
But it's like a vampire. Would they not be on there? Like I'm just trying to think of any way to try
Oh.
to see what's in there. You know.
It's just a painting recreation, right? Because I think they had that in the movie. Even they seen like
Who's
a
alive to
biblical
tell
text.
you though?
It's
How
hey,
did that
man.
happen? Right.
Well, it showed the
History
light
is
beaming
myth
out,
agreed upon.
actually.
Great line. You can take that to the bank.
Another
but-
great line. You got to believe in something if you believe it hard enough. You know. Right, Taylor?
I don't
Top
think that's the
five.
line.
I think that's the exact line.
What was it? What was my last point I was gonna say? Oh yeah, also my favorite game, Warhammer. They also completely ripped off Ark of the Covenant. Castle of Skulls, one of my favorite units of all time, mostly because it's from Indiana Jones. So there you go.
I mean,
Nice.
Spelunky definitely ripped off the Golden Idol too, which is why it
Oh,
jumped to
okay.
my number 1 slot. So I think all 3 of us, except for Travis, had some video game bias for our artifacts there.
That's fair. Well, we have done it. We have spent many hours talking about Indiana Jones. We reviewed all the films. We reviewed the newest one. We have ranked them so we can close the lid on this arc and go now in our, just kind of whatever, our warehouse of heirlooms, the Indiana Jones
Heirlooms.
retrospective. What heirloom? That's right.
Our warehouse of podcasts, you mean? Our warehouse of retros?
No, I'm
I
saying
like calling our
heirlooms, yeah.
episodes heirlooms. I think
Yeah,
that-
I like that
it's,
too.
it's in the history books. Who knows? Maybe when the game comes back out, maybe that'll be years from now. I'll bust this retro for people to check it out and everything. But yeah, that'll be probably the next time we talk about it and stuff because I don't think the TV series is canceled. I think we will get a reboot. We'll probably be talking about this again when we're sitting. Next time we're reviewing an Indiana Jones movie, we're going to be the age of Harrison Ford. That's what's going to be
Yes,
happening. Oh
that's
yeah, in our
likely.
day. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's gonna be sad. Like probably Spielberg will be dead. Harrison will be dead. It's
I think if we're 80-year-old Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford's age, I'm pretty sure Spielberg and Harrison will all be dead. So
that's what I said. It's gonna be
cured
sad.
yeah,
It's gonna-
I'm
yeah,
backing
like a
up
Unless
holy
they
for
go to
grail.
that cave with Stinky Joe and they start.
Yeah.
I said
Drinking
pretty
that
sure because who
grail.
knows what happens in 5 years? They're like, okay, Timothy Chalamet is the new Indiana Jones. Go, So I don't think that's gonna happen. But we'll be here, looking like Stinky
We'll be
Pete,
here.
reviewing Indiana Jones, going, oh yeah, this crystal skull is better than this. But so we will be back at some point in the future about Indiana Jones, at least with the game, and who knows what else. But a big thank you to everybody that tuned into these ones. Big thank you to everyone that tuned in the review. Thank you to all you fine gents. This was a fun one. It was definitely a different genre. It's nice when we're not covering, Star Wars, Capes and Cows. I love doing that stuff, but this was a bit of film history because it's one of the biggest films. Like going back in our trivia, it changed a lot in cinema and the careers of all these people. So it's a good time. We'll be back next week, and I promise you, it'll not be boring.
Bye.
Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba.